वहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःखङ्करणे। मूढजहि धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णा। यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपातं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्। नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम्। एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्। नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम्। विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्। यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रक्तः। पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे। यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे। गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये। बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः। वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः। काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः। कस्य त्वं कः कुतायातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः। सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वम्। निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः। वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः। क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः।
O fool, give up your thirst for aggrandizing wealth. Create in your mind the thought of reality instead of the thirst. Whatever fruit of action you gain, content your mind with that wealth obtained. So we saw in the last class that how craving for the wealth, which is the fruit of most people's actions, they crave for wealth, that itself acts as the obstacle for attainment of wealth. That is why Swami Ramtirtha says, the way to gain anything is to lose it. You have to leave it and only then it will come. But it is very easy to say that don't crave for wealth. But how to do it? What is the practical aspect of doing it? When we say wealth, wealth is the most common pursuit of the humanity. That's why it's taken. But it can be craving for anything. Some people who may have enough wealth, they may crave for power. Some may crave for position. Some may crave for some other thing. All this can be collectively included also. So all this comes under the broad category of what we call as acquisition. Then the next one comes as enjoyment. These two are the motivating factors for human being to pursue the world. So any craving for that matter, it is very easy to say that let not the mind crave, but how to do it? Because the mind's nature is to crave. All that we need to do is just produce a thought and just think about it. The mind starts brooding over it again and again and again. This forms craving. And once the mind believes that the pleasure in that fruit is there, it constantly craves for it, believing that there is a pleasure there. So you cannot suddenly stop the mind from craving. But we need to control it. How to do it? This verse indicates a path. It indicates at the highest level, which can be toned to our practical level also and understood. He says, create in your mind the thought of reality instead of the thirst. Kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam. See, the first part of the word also he used the same word trishna. Now he says vitrishnam. Vitrishna means without thirst. So, whatever you aim to achieve in life, whatever you desire also, the key word here is vitrishna. Vitrishna means it should be done without thirst. Most of you would have seen the Secret documentary. He is talking about how the force of thought functions, and they give various examples at the material level to make us understand, which Swami Ramtirtha very clearly and categorically explained in his lectures about 100 years back. He says, your thought has the power of attracting the object to your vicinity. This is the power of your thought. This functions exactly like the law of gravity at the physical level. At the physical level, what we see as law of gravity says that every object is attracted to every other object and the proportion of the force is directly proportional to the mass of the objects, and the force is inversely proportional to the distance between them. Why we are not able to see it amongst ourselves? It's only because the Earth's gravitational force is so powerful. So Earth has attracted everything towards itself. That's how it is. Otherwise, every body, every physical body has and exerts this gravitational force, the force to attract each other that is there at the physical level. Exactly like that, the law of attraction that acts as the mental level is the law of affinity, law of attraction, law of desire, law of love, whatever you call it. The moment you are actually desiring something, your thought forces has to attract it towards you, and the forces in the universe should rearrange itself so that it is available for you. This is the law. This is for everybody's thought. This is for every place. But we don't see this practically happen. Why does this not happen? It is only because we do not know how to desire and how to keep a check on that desire. When we desire something, let us say already the forces have moved in such a way that the object must come to you. The process has already started. And all that you need to do is at the second stage, leave space for the object and move inside, so that it should enter into your life. But the mind doesn't allow that. The mind keeps on craving for that fruit. In that process, it puts a negative force or a resistant force towards that, which is not allowing that fruit to come to you, which is not allowing that object of desire to come to you. So in fact, craving acts as an opposite force to your desire. Now if you practically want to analyze how it functions in our life, we say that you need to do karma, you need to do action, you need to work for it, and then you will get the fruit. When you work for the fruit, when your thoughts are on the action, to that extent your thoughts are not on the fruit of action. To that extent your action becomes perfect. To that extent your action yields results. Therefore you get the results. So this is the hard way of getting it, and it's the right way of getting it. If you go to a very very high state of sattva, all that you need to do is just have one thought and it should materialize immediately. That is the power of the thought, because at that high level you will not unnecessarily desire or want anything. And whatever by like Swami Ramtirtha, when he was in Himalayas, he just had a sankalpa that it would have been nice if we had Yoga Vasishta now to read. Somebody sent it, and in that height of Himalayas, somebody gave it by post in the next day. How it will happen? This is how it will happen. And what is he asking Yoga Vasishta for? Is there any selfish purpose to it? It is just a thought of inspiration. In that inspiration, it is just a connection with the Atma Vidya. That's all it is. And that has to immediately materialize. That is why when you are in a sattvic state of mind, whatever you desire, when you desire it from the bottom of the heart, it has more power to express itself. It will come. This is probably the reason why when newly married couple or a boy who has been given the sacred thread, he is asked to fall at the feet of the elders, the priest, grandfather and everybody at that point of time, because at least at that point of time everybody's heart is fulfilled, and at that point of time when they bless, that blessing has more value, it has more effect. So when they say you will be well, with that very genuine thought, when it is there, it has that much power, it has that much weightage. So we have to understand that we have to have a desire and then grow above that desire or move up in that ladder, so that you create space for that object of desire to come. But when we are caught up in our selfish circle, the mind doesn't easily allow this to happen, because we don't have a control over our mind's direction and dimension. It can ask for anything. The famous story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, a person came and sat under the Kalpavriksha tree. He did not know that was a Kalpavriksha tree. Kalpavriksha tree is a tree of fulfillment of desire. We don't know where it is. If it is there, we will not be sitting here. So it is a symbolic tree. Your Guru's feet is the Kalpavriksha tree, nothing else. You go to your... See, in this Kalpavriksha tree story, you know that he is first asking for food. He is very tired. He thinks that if his food is there, it will be good. Immediately food comes. Nice food comes. And he says, it will be nice water to quench his thirst. If it is there, it will be good. Immediately water comes. And then he thinks somebody is there to massage so that he can relax under the shade of the tree with nice breeze. Immediately there are few people who are there to massage him, and that also happens. Then the mind doesn't keep quiet. Suddenly it thinks of what will happen if a tiger is there. Then the tiger also comes there. So you cannot say to the mind, try not to think of this, try to only think of this. Rather, the more you don't want to think of anything, it will be there. Imagine if there is a Kalpavriksha tree where under which negative desires don't come at all, only positive desires come. Or rather a tree where even you need not even wish for the positive desire, where whatever is required is just fulfilled. That type of a tree is, they say, is the feet of your own Guru. In his presence, you will not really want to ask or achieve anything. With his grace, whatever is required has to be fulfilled. This is what they say about the greatness of a true Guru, because he is such a person who takes away that negative vasana itself from you. As long as the vasana is there, something or the other will come. So we need to try to control and take it, suppress it, and try to create a positive thought and then try to fulfill it, then try to do hard karma. If somebody is there to give a knowledge by which all this is taken care of, what a wonderful thing. That is why we need to learn the Shastras under the right Guru, and he is going to create a situation in such a way that your mind is going to only seek the right things in life. That's all. Here, what is the practical way to do it? In the initial phase of life, the craving, the moment it is there, anything that you desire, it is going to keep on multiplying. A person is seeking money, a person is seeking power, a person is seeking house, car or position or whatever it is. the mind keeps on seeking irresistibly. When he does that, he himself is not sure of what he is asking. See, suppose you yourself need to quantify. Suppose you say, I want money. It's not a dharmic thing. You say, okay, you want money. But what is that quantum of money that you want? Are you clear about it? No, as much as you can give, please. As much as you can give means, is there a quantum? That you must be very clear. See, when you go to a restaurant, you don't order, bring whatever is the best in you. What will he bring? He will say everything in our hotel is best. You have to be specific in your order. Give me this dosa or give me this Chinese food. Something you have to order. Only then the waiter knows what to bring. Exactly like that. You must be very clear of what you order in the universe. There is an infinite menu that is there. You cannot say, like a child which is let loose in the toy shop, it doesn't know what to pick. Exactly like that we are. We do not know what to pick. The mind is running here and there. So even as you seek money, you try to make a quantum out of it and be very clear of it. So even suppose we say, we try to collect funds at the end of the year, once in a year for the yajna that's happening. Yes, it is one time, so therefore whatever comes we may give it to the academy, we may use it for the expenses here, all that is fine. But there must be a budget for it. There must be a proper figure for it. Only then you will be able to, suppose somebody is there, let's say by chance this year some Tata or some Birla says, I am ready to full sponsor, but tell me, sir, whatever you want to give, you give. For him giving 10,000 is easy, for him giving 10 lakhs is easy, or for him, let's say 10 crores is also easy. How will he give? Unless otherwise you are clear about it. So you must be very clear about what you really want. And once you do that, you must try to rise above the desire for which karma is required. So therefore, what can be a practical way? This chart we have drawn before, just remember this. When it comes through the mind, the desire takes the form of, let's say, greed, or you can call it lust, craving, or avarice. All are similar terms meaning the irresistible force of the mind. When the same thing is fixation is there by the intellect, you can call it positively, and these words are used in a positive way, that you have an aim or an ambition. You can say aspiration, an ideal or a goal. These are all again similar synonym words, or we use it in that sense only here. So in the initial phase, let us say a person is entering into his life as an adult, there will be obviously a lot of inspiration and force at that point of time where he says, I want to have my own house, I want to stand on my own legs, maybe I want a vehicle of my own. All this is not adharmic, these are legitimate from that angle. But once he gets into the mode of craving, only then his action is hampered. Therefore what he must do is, suppose if he is having a career in a company or an organization, he can think in terms of that I need to, let's say, earn ₹1 million or in the business, or it can be that I need to attain this position of a general manager in the next 3 years, whatever it is. Whatever I am saying, some realistic goal he must have. From our standpoint now, it can be even a selfish desire. It is not a great unselfish, but it is a fixation. It is a goal, it is a fixation. Once he is aiming towards that, particular fixation and working towards that, he is going to get money along the way. He is going to get power, he is going to get position, he is going to get his car and everything. But all these things are coming with not as a direct focus on them. They are coming as a byproduct, as a thing, it will automatically follow. So along the line of his even desires, if he is able to keep a fixation little above them and work towards it very diligently, everything is going to directly come. Now how long can this type of ideal or goal last? It will last for a while. In the sense, is something that is for me, that inspiration is there in the initial phase of life. even having made the first million in your life, you may not have the same inspiration for the second million or the third million. It will not be that. You may be forced to do it by peer pressure or social status or whatever it is, but that josh and the energy that you have in the very beginning to achieve it, that will not be directly translated into your second thing, what you want for yourself. That is why from there onwards, with knowledge, there has to be a little paradigm shift in our thought process. All the ideals and goals just for me and myself cannot carry you for long. That is why we need to have some sort of a goal or ideal little beyond our selfish interest. Okay, let's say that person gets married and he has a family. To that extent, little bit it's some bigger circle, because he is just not working for himself now, he is working for his family, which is one step better. Okay, but that again is a common circle where most of us end our journey. It becomes the boundary of our growth. Rather, Vedanta says your home must be the center from where you have to expand further and further. So therefore, the next level of your aspiration must not be along in the same line, along in the same wavelength. It must be at a different wavelength. It must be a paradigm. That's why even in terms of money, from 1 million you must not go to 2 million or 3 million. You must visualize something as 1 billion. That is a paradigm shift. If you are already operating in a billion, you go to trillion. That is a shift. Now, why will the mind suddenly go there? You ask a person who is a clerk, he will think in terms of the clerk only. He cannot think in terms of a manager. So he can raise his bit a little bit higher. That's about all. He will not suddenly think very high. That is where this knowledge comes into picture. This knowledge asks us to not get content at any level. When I am saying this, we are not talking about a material example here. We are talking about your aspiration in the level that you want to achieve, because there is never going to be an end to any material pursuit. So therefore you need to have an ideal or goal, something which is inspirational for you beyond your selfish interest, where you are feeling inspired to do that. So even if you are a businessman doing your business in that company or whatever you are doing, try to think in terms of making that company so large that it gives a lot of employment, that it improves the economy of the state of Bengal or country, whatever it is. Like that you have to visualize, and it is not that anyway I am going to expand, it will automatically happen. No, your vision must be that, your thought must be that, and then you will find that inspiration to keep on working. And in this process, what happens to me then? Your thing is taken care of, because you are part of that circle. It is not that you are apart from that circle, but now you are actually raising your status and prestige internally. That is the way to approach any work. You have to put a lot of weightage on the work, and that weightage cannot come when you say it is just for me and myself. Gita says in a beautiful way, in one phrase, you can remember this: Kripana Palahetavaha. Kripana means a very pitiable person. He is a pitiable person who is Palahetavaha, who just works for the fruit. He says, why are you working? Just that I will get my salary and so that I can take care of my family. It is, you are lowering your status. You are just lowering your status, he says. You are doing something which is great. Even if you produce a small screw and a nut and a bolt, that is going to help somebody in some factory, in some automobile industry, something, you are actually doing a great job about it. So like that we need to put this is nothing to do with a personal ego. It is called as a Vastu Gaurava. That means you are giving a weightage to the work, to the process itself. So that must be the idea. So for which the intellect must visualize something beyond your selfish interest, and then the mind must surrender to that ideal. Each one has to find out their own ideal. Maybe a person who is your guru or who is your guide can give certain directions if you present him with data, but ultimately it is you who have to fix that ideal. Now, how do we fix that ideal? Ideal is not something, goal is not something that one day you get up and today I am going to fix the ideal. It does not happen like that. There is a basic passion and an emotion which drives you towards that ideal. So in other words, you are moved by an ideal. and therefore there has to be a basic emotion for that, which is based on, that's why we say inspiration is a higher level of emotion. Unless that emotion is there, if that emotion is directed properly, it will crystallize into an ideal, any emotion for that matter. See, we know that in Peter Maritzburg, that time he was Mohandas Gandhi, he was thrown away from the train because of his color of the skin, that he cannot travel with a white person in the first class compartment was the contention. And when he was thrown out of the train, obviously he would be angry, and he rightfully angry. If somebody is going to be insulted based on his skin color, which ought not to be done, it is, I would say, a rightful anger. But if that anger is now not personalized, if it is personalized, it creates a poison within you. Either you suffer inside or you throw it on others and you hurt others. All these things are the product of anger. But if you don't personalize, but you direct it to a thought that why should anybody be discriminated on the basis of color, then it becomes an ideal. Then there is a thought comes that we need to work on this. That is called as an ideal. That is called as a goal. So like that, inspiration is that something you need to fill your mind with that passion, with that thought. It will then crystallize. Swami Ramtirtha says, he gives the idea about the functioning of the universe, and he says, don't worry about how the universe will make things happen. Your job is to find the right thing that you feel inspired, and just pour your heart in it, pour your thoughts on it, till it crystallizes within you, till it saturates within you. Then whatever action you do out of that is an inspired action. That will be an inspired action. So what we need, once that mind feels like that, then intellect comes into play, that it is fixating. Then you know there is a plan of action, there is a fixation. So even the positive desire that you want to do so much, and this intellect gives a direction. No, this is what is the thing. This is what is the project that you need to do. Then there is a purposeful thing. Otherwise we may have 1,000 desires and we may not be able to concentrate on one and achieve something out of it. So when it comes to intellect here, it takes the positive form of a aim or an ambition or a aspiration. Once you work like this, what happens is that the work itself becomes enjoyable. That is the ultimate prize of work. The ultimate success of the work is that you start enjoying the work. Fruit and other things is the enjoyment only in the beginning, to induce you into work. Once you get into the right attitude of work, and once you enjoy the work itself, that is the greatest joy in itself. And when the fruit comes, it's okay. You take it as along the way. But there is a joy in enjoying the work. And then when you work like this, whatever be it, according to your talent, according to your inspiration, you want to, let's say somebody wants to spread Sanskrit, somebody wants to spread Vedanta, somebody wants to put up a factory, somebody wants to build a hospital, orphanage, whatever be your inspiration. When you get immersed and involved in that work, and as I said, the universal forces is going to make that things happen. That is what is known as, what he says here as Nija Karma. In Bengali, you use this Nija often, right? Nija means one's own, your own. That becomes your own karma. In that your own karma, whatever comes out of it as a result, content your mind with that, and believe the verses here, and believe in Gita. Whatever is required for you and more, maybe 10 times it is going to come. It will come. Why will it not come? But you are absolutely content with what you have. So contentment is a great virtue. Remember this, contentment is a great virtue as far as your material wealth is concerned. As we discussed in the last class, the definition of richness is one who is able to contain himself within his assets and riches and his income. If your desires are contained within this, you are a rich person, irrespective of, even if you have 10 rupees in your pocket. But if you are even having a lakh of rupees or a million rupees in your bank account, but you don't feel content and you are craving for more, you are a poor person at that stage also. So you need to be extremely content at your level with whatever you gain out of your Nija Karma. So the satisfaction that a person gets, let it be 5 rupees or 50 rupees or 500 rupees, that he does something and he gets out of it, that is the greatest satisfaction. Some people may think in terms of acquiring wealth of it is going to come, father's wealth or father-in-law's wealth, all those may be there, but that satisfaction that you get out of your own action and you get the thing that gives immense pleasure, immense satisfaction. He says be content with it. So when we talked about the three purusharthas, it is all the dharma that is the beginning. With the dharmic action, what you get is artha. That artha is sacred, and out of which what you enjoy is real enjoyment also. So he says yellabase nija karmo patam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. So in general he is saying, put this thought of the self in your mind and keep the mind aloft in higher ideals. Let the mind taste or crave for higher things. Let its taste be there. Then automatically what is coming there at the lower level, you will be satisfied. So contentment you understand at two levels here. At the material level you feel content, it's a great virtue. At the spiritual level, never feel content. That's what Swamiji says as complacency. Never be complacent. Sometimes in comparison we do the opposite. In the material level, even though however much we may have, we compare with somebody who is higher, and then we crave for more. In the spiritual level, we will compare with somebody less and say, I am at least not that bad, something like that. We satisfy ourselves. Alvar says you must do the opposite. If you have the bad habit of comparing, at least use that comparing in the right way. In spiritual level, why don't you compare yourself with Vivekananda or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and you say, and be jealous of him, and you say you want to achieve like him. We keep him at a distance, do worship, prayer, and then we go. So at the spiritual level, always be discontent. That will not lead us into the state of complacency. But at the material level, even if you want to aspire for more materialism, you have to be content with what you have now. That is very important. Because Swamiji says in the Vedanta, it is beautiful quote, one who is never content with what he has now is never going to be content with what is going to acquire in future. That's for sure. If you are not content with what you have now, never are you going to be content, even if you say it's just that extra 1 million or that extra one car, it can never be there. It is always round the corner. Next, like that it will go. So in the present we will be extremely dissatisfied at all points of time. Yes, sir.
This Krishna by itself does not seem to be bad.
Why?
Why? Because if the mind is operating, Krishna is probably misleading. If the intellect is operating, Krishna is, because we are talking about measurable, achievable things which are finite, goals. Goals might be, today I have a cycle, tomorrow I want a Lamborghini. Probably it will be practically impossible to get it. But it is possible to have Krishna in both the ways. With Krishna, does it have a connotation of Vairagya?
See, you have to understand the connotation or the context of the word Trishna. Trishna means thirst. Thirst means craving. Craving is an aspect of mind. When we talk about intellect, intellect doesn't crave. Intellect only fixates. Intellect only keeps as a goal. Then, because of that, you are able to control the Trishna of the mind. So, usually Trishna is associated with what mind perceives as the fruit of action. That is where the Trishna is centering around. So, when it is intellect, it gets fixed on the goal. And let's say even if you have fixed a proper goal, if the mind is constantly going to go towards the goal and its achievement and future, your present action gets hampered. So therefore Trishna is not encouraged when you understand Trishna in the context that it is craving. Craving is a definite aspect of mind only, not of the intellect. Think about it. Yeah. So content yourself with the whatever fruit of action you gain, content your mind with that wealth obtained. So this verse is with reference to Kanchana or wealth or acquisition. Verse 3 we will chant twice.
नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम् नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्.
Seeing the bosom and navel of a woman, do not fall a prey to frenzied delusion. It is a modification of flesh, fat, etc. Reflect well in your mind over and over again. A very beautiful verse which is talking about the second aspect of acquisition. As I said, Bhaja Govindam covers all aspects of life in general and from practical point of view also. But a recurring theme which is there in the beginning and in the end is this two motivations, which is acquisition and enjoyment. Verse 2 talked about acquisition, verse 3 now talks about enjoyment. It is referred to in these two verses as traditionally it is referred as Kanchana and Kamini. Kanchana means gold. Gold is the measurement of wealth, and gold probably was the unit of wealth also in good old days before. Now universally US dollars and respective currencies and everything came. Gold. And then Kamini refers to woman, and woman refers to the object of enjoyment as it is. It is addressed to a Muda who is man as so it is symbolic of all enjoyments as it is. It should not be taken that Shankaracharya is misogynistic or something like that. Not like that. This pleasure that man derives out of woman or vice versa, the sensual pleasure, is considered as the highest form of all sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures is the pleasure that we derive from sense objects through our senses. Our senses are 5 in number. You have the eyes which enjoy the sight, the ears which enjoy the sound, tongue which enjoys the taste, skin enjoys touch, and nose enjoys smell. These are the 5 things. So each and every enjoyment that you take, it will be one of these 5 senses, one or more. So in that angle, this is considered probably the highest, and therefore the symbolism of Kamini is given here. Why is it the highest form of sensual pleasure?
All 5 senses are involved.
Correct. Here is an enjoyment where all the 5 senses are simultaneously involved. And not just that, it then pulls your mind into a greater infatuation also. So 5 plus 1 you can say 6, all the 6 like that, it is fatally attracted in the sense. It is considered the highest form of enjoyment. Correct. What is meant by frenzied delusion? He says here, the catchword again here is moha avesham. Moha avesham. Avesham means something has taken over you and you do not know, or it's not in your control, as it were. It's a frenzy, a frenzied delusion that there is nothing beyond this. You don't see anything beyond that, and that has completely preoccupied your system. That is called as moha avesham. Moha means delusion. A frenzied delusion is a moha avesham. So it is by which you lose yourself completely into something. That is referred as moha avesham. Why? What causes that? He says, Nari stanabara nabidesham. By the sight of the contours of the woman, by the navel region and the bosom of the woman, do not fall a prey to this frenzied delusion, he says. See, it is incredible, but it works that way only. All the knowledge that we can gain in the class, you can discuss or study early in the morning. But when you encounter certain things in the world, the pull or the temptation is so powerful that all the knowledge is not of any avail at that point of time. That is why we need to work hard to get established our intellect. It's not a overnight thing. And therefore also, even in getting this Vedantic knowledge and slowly establishing yourself, be very careful if any change in you occurs drastically overnight, even onto positive. See, every change has to be gradual and it has to slowly get yourself established. When we say gradual, I am talking about our stages of evolution. That has to be gradual. But when it comes to leaving a habit or something, that has to, one fine day you have to leave cigarette. It's not that one day 10, next day 9, next day 8. It doesn't work like that. Once the doctor says if you smoke now and then you are going to be dead, suddenly he leaves it. It is just that shock treatment or that threat at that point of time that he is going to leave. I am not talking about such things. We are talking about evolution in a person or weight reduction program in a body, let us say. You do exercises, there's a trained yoga teacher or a gym expert who is making you undergo certain things. You will, if you do it consistently, you will find the result in 2 months, 3 months, which is the proper way. No, suddenly I'll do a surgery and all the fat is taken out, or suddenly you pop in a pill and that will make you slim. You be very careful about it because it may have certain side effects. It is not scientific, because the fat that we have gained, obesity that we have gained is not overnight. It is over a period of indisciplined eating or not exercising that you. So you must give at least that much time, little bit, where you can do a little more exercise and it will come back to normalcy. So every evolution like that at any level is gradual. Even at the spiritual level, there are, Swamiji talked about example of, I don't know, somebody known to him or his friend in Chennai when he was in the formative stages, maybe in his 20s. That was the time Swami Chinmayananda was very famous, and he was giving lectures and drawing people into Bhagavad Gita. Particularly the audience who are well versed in English, they are the persons who need to be brought back to spirituality much more. So, and this person, his friend, got so involved, so attracted by it. He said, name any vice, he had it, everything. Going and hunting animals in the forest, wine, alcohol, woman, any habits, all the habits he had. And suddenly he got somehow attracted to Gita, and he was probably an intelligent person who understood. And overnight he left everything. And probably that was the talk of the town. See, look, that person, he is going to attend Gita lectures all the time and he is always following Chinmayananda wherever he is going. All these things happen, and obviously it will be a talk of the town, and he is like totally a reformed person. Swamiji said, when people were saying about this, I really wished it was correct only, but I was very skeptic. And 1 year down the line, when he visited again later, he saw that he had gotten into all the habits and he was doing little more than before. It was a very sad thing, but that's what happened. Because what has transformed him, which came as an initial momentous inspiration or something, is not sustained by knowledge. You can get transformed like that, but you need a long sustained effort and knowledge, vairagya to take it forward. That is not the case. That is why some people, even they may come to this class or any other thing. It could be Sadguru, or it could be art of living or anything, where they have not tasted anything like that before. Suddenly you get into it, you will get something very, very new and fresh. It is going to be transformational in your life. Some people who have never done breathing exercises and meditation and all those things, suddenly you do all those things. It gives wonderful effect, and that's correct effect also, true also. It's not that you are cheating yourself, it's correct. But it needs to be slowly sustained, and then you will find that effect will be gradually taking place. Even in academy, what we do in this 3 years of study, 1 year, 1.5 years, the inspiration with which everybody practices that, you are elevated to a level. And then towards the end of the course, at 3 years level, you are coming back to your bulk of vasanas which you have to deal with. And then from there on, it's a lifetime course. That's how it has to slowly go. So, this has to be very gradual. It has to be very slowly undertaken. So, why I said that is, the mind has a tendency to get attracted even as we are studying this knowledge, because the temptation and outside and the vasanas within us, these are all very powerful. And once it gets a taste of it, at that point of time, the mind fully gets involved and completely loses itself. That's called as frenzied delusion. Whatever the nightclub will be, it was like that. And there, for girls, they were all dancing in a raised place where everybody can see them. You carefully notice all those who are dancing there are not girls. They are boys. They are actually boys dressed as girls. He said, for that, whatever, it could be a very, why they did that we don't know, maybe it's too costly to hire them or something like that. But in order to make the club entertaining, they have to provide this facility. So they have dressed boys like that, and they were dancing. And there was, without any doubt or hesitation, those people who are enjoying and whatever we see throwing money or whatever, all these things they were doing. So what has actually got them attracted is that thought that this is some girl dancing like that. It may not be really a girl, but it's a boy. But this is what is known as a frenzied delusion. What you have imagined in that moha, what is that you see, and that is what you fall for. It is incredible. This is how the mind functions, he says. The mind functions as though that it is there fully, and without any restriction it completely falls into it, where it is completely caught in that quagmire. It is not able to redeem itself. That is called as a frenzied delusion. So what is the solution for this? He says, a beautiful technique which is called as a intellectual re-evaluation of the same thing, which you view from a different angle. From all sides you have to view it. It is called as Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana means, Paksha means side, Pratipaksha means the other side. Bhavana means your view, your perception, your view of viewing it from the other side. Pratipaksha Bhavana. It is an intellectual re-evaluation. He says, Etan Mansava Sadivik Vasa Adi Vikaram. All this is mans, which is flesh, fat. All this is what it is. What you are falling for as a frenzied delusion, if you analyze it part by part, it is just modification of flesh, fat, blood, bones, sinew. This is the thing. And what is interesting about this analysis is, each of these things per se you just don't like. Not just you don't like, you have a revulsion for it. Extreme dislike you have. If our own body gets cut and the blood comes out, we are not able to see. We don't want it. If there is an accident and flesh, it is that flesh that has come out, fat that has come out. Ooh, you may feel sorry for that person, but you don't want to see that sight. It is not a very pleasant sight. All those things which you don't like is what is there and packed. It's nicely packed and presented to you, then you fall for it. How does this happen? This is what is maybe the starting point of Maya. We do not know. That's what it is. It is all those things that we don't like is packed in such a way, but that presents itself as the most endearing thing to us. It is incredible that how the mind functions. This is Maya. This is an incredible thought. So then he asks us to analyze a little further, and he says, what is it of that girl you like? You ask a boy and let him try to explain, because as he said, you let him say that the hair of that girl is so nice and so beautiful. So you cut that hair and give it to him. He will not like it. He will not want it. You say if it is the smile, the teeth per se he will not want separately. The blood that flowing in the cheeks, which is when she blushes, that blood alone you collect and give. That's not what he wants. So nothing that he wants separately, but yet that whole figure gives him a joy, a pleasure, and to the extent that he will lose himself into delusion. Now he says, carefully analyze, what is that source of the happiness, source of the joy in her? The same wife or same lover, and let us assume he is a genuine lover, and this boy also has a genuine love. All that love, where does it really culminate? If for argument's sake the other person is dead, you are still throwing your emotions, but who is there to receive that emotions? Where does it get deposited? That where it was deposited as so long seems not to be there. Yeah, but the same hair is there, the same smile, maybe you can make that person open the mouth and smile is there, the same blood is there, but it doesn't seem to react one bit of your whatever you are throwing at it. So all this while, when you are showing that emotion, getting into that notion because of something very attractive there, what really was attractive is what he wants you to analyze. Because all the things that you thought as attractive is still there. It is still there. But they are not attractive anymore. Probably you yourself will make arrangements for funeral, however sad you may feel, quickly. You have to quickly dispose of. Otherwise it is going to, it will be a problem in the house. Even germs and everything will be there. So it is not advisable. You yourself will make all the arrangements to either cremate, burn the body or bury according to your ritual you will do. All this while your love was, let us say, not false, but where was it getting deposited? Therefore the destination into which it was going all this while was something else. That is what you actually liked. That is what you actually liked. But all this was covered up by something else, and false notion was that I was liking this. So we get frenzied delusion by the superficially whatever is the covering, but beyond it something is there which is what we actually like, which we are unconscious of now. So by reflection you have to get into direct liking of that. That is what he says by manasi vichintaya varam varam. Varam varam means again and again and again. Again and again think about this, think about this. So, okay, then you go and analyze. If it is not this flesh and fat, what is that inside? Is it the mind? The same mind and emotions, how much fight happens after marriage? Before marriage it was all romance. Why does it happen? Mind, it is not the mind. Something else beyond the mind. Who is operating through the mind? That is what is the destination of all your emotions that is being deposited there. Now come to this side. You come to your source of your emotion. Where is that coming from? Is it as superficial that it comes from your body? No. It is something from within. Because in your own body also, suppose same thing that you like in others, the hair or the teeth or anything, you like your own hair also. You may spend a lot of time standing in front of the mirror, or we apply so much dye and other thing to take care of this hair. So much value you give for the hair. When we go for a haircut or something like that, once the hair is cut, do you even try to look at it? So why is that hair likable for you, that you spend so much time, energy, money saving it, decorating it? Because it is my hair, and that my hair is there as long as it is here. When it goes away, it is not mine. I don't have any liking for it. My own nails, when I cut, I just throw it away. It is, people even say it is not sacred for the house. It is not auspicious. Throw it away. It is dirt. But when it is here, how much we spend on polishing the nail or all the things that are required for the nail. Why? Why do you like it so much? Because it's my nail. So what you like is really the my, more than anything. Whatever we have, anything that comes out of us we don't like. Remember that. All that is when it is packed inside is what you claim as my, me. That is what is our liking. And all the other attachments in the world is coming from this basic attachment. Me, my, this body, and connected with this body every other attachment. That is what we like. So he says, go inside. What you really like is that my which is possessing, that I, real I which is possessing all these things, the body, my mind, my intellect, that possessor is who is the real subject, Atma. That is what you really like. That is what you really want. Therefore, since we are not able to directly love that, directly like that, we are all doing it in this reflected things. That's what we said in that in the talk on Bhakti that Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. What a statement that Upanishad says and goes, but we need a lot of thinking and analysis to even appreciate the depth of that statement. Whether you like it or not, the truth is you like only the Atma. All other things are likable to you because of that Atma. If that relationship is cut off, nothing in this world is not just likable, not even experienceable, no chance. So what is really likable for you is that. So he says here, use this Pratipaksha Bhavana. This applies not only to this sensual enjoyment, anything for that matter. Independently, each and every unit you may not like, but all put together gives a notion that this is what it is. Swamiji in the commentary has given the example of a holiday that everybody falls for. See, per se enjoying a holiday is nothing wrong, but what do we immediately fall for, that you look forward to vacation and plan and everything? Finally he says you are planning with your holidays and children's holidays that really doesn't match what you planned for 3 weeks has now come to 2 weeks or 10 days. Then there is a hotel booking that is still not confirmed, this, that, your railway or the airport and this. And when you go there for the day's program, there is a bickering and quarrel among the family members. You should go there or lake, or you should go to waterfalls or something like that. And then there is wet weather and various other environmental problems that's happening there. And then finally he says at the end you find that your purse is drained a little more than what you had budgeted for. All this is understandable, but what we do is, having come immediately, where do we go next? That is the next plan. Immediate plan is next year what will be the vacation. So the mind immediately has a delusion that this is what it is. So independently you look at it, each and every aspect is not easy to deal with, but all put together gives a thing. Your North Indian may like chapati, whatever you eat with sabji, kurma, whatever it is. South Indian may like curd rice, pickle. Rice alone can you eat? You cannot. Curd alone, difficult. Pickle alone, no. But all this put together, that combination says like Amrita. How is it possible? So that is what is. No, independently you can enjoy that. But let not the mind get into that frenzied delusion. Frenzied delusion is where you completely lose yourself into it completely, where the intellect is totally absent. That is what he is cautioning against here. Don't lose yourself in the frenzy. Enjoy it as it comes. The way to really enjoy anything is connected with the previous verse. Yellabase nija karmo partam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. As you pursue, that means we have to aim for higher things in life. Start your pursuit and go ahead with it in a way that you are comfortable, and your enjoyment is in doing that work, achieving the goal. Along the way, unexpectedly, you will encounter various enjoyments, for sure. It is not that the Bhaja Govindam is asking us to be an extremely suppressed person, bereft of any contact of world, not so. It will come, and when something comes unexpectedly, that enjoyment that you have is actually maximum. You go by the experience of the children in the house. Sometimes they crave and adamant and then they cry, sometimes they roll on the floor, even on the road, that I want this sweet or something which you have already given enough for the week, so you don't want to give. But it is so adamant that finally there's no other choice but to yield. And the mother or father is not happy, but just take it, that sort of a thing they give. And the child also takes it. It may stop the crying, but it is not really relishing or enjoying. One day the child is doing its own thing in the house, suddenly a guest comes and he gives a chocolate. See the joy, and if it likes that chocolate, see the joy in the child's face. It did not expect it, but it got it. That is the joy that is a real joy. Like that, when you go along the way, various things, life has various things stored in you that you will encounter it. That is the joy, and you will enjoy it all levels. Swamiji is a living proof. Till 90 you can enjoy all types of food. Every part of the world he has travelled, and every sort of experience, right from the greatest car to a greatest cricket stadium where you can play cricket. Everything will come along the way. It is just that when you grow above it, these things will come automatically. This is the law. When you come down from your level and chase for it, they are going to recede. Even if you do very hard work and get little, it is not going to be of commensurate enjoyment. So that is the way to enjoy. The lesson in this verse, in these two verses, is to maintain that objectivity in all our experiences. Remember that even as you enjoy, we need to understand the mantra for objectivity, which is even this shall pass away. Even as you enjoy anything, remember it is not going to be a permanent experience. It's going to pass away. Therefore, let your thought and focus be on permanent things. When this comes along, just go ahead with it. We'll conclude here. Next class, we will just take this poem. Two poems. Those who know this Select English Poems book is a collection of small English poems where Swamiji has interpreted those poems from Vedantic angle. Each poem gives one or two great values. Two of those poems are directly connected to these things, acquisition and enjoyment. One is what we just now mentioned, even this shall pass away, which talks about perfect objectivity. Objectivity is the mantra of that poem, and it talks about a Persian king who goes through all the experiences in life with this great mantra, with this great objectivity. Second is William Cowper's poem on pineapple and the bee. It's specifically talking about acquisition and enjoyment. We'll take it up in the next class.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.